Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to It Came From DC Comics here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 2012. That movie is Superman vs. the Elite. Now, I'm just going to say this, guys, straight up. I really don't know a whole lot about this film. I do know that it is based on a story taken directly out of the Superman comics. I have no clue how loyal it's going to be to that story. If previous films are anything to go by, it's probably going to be rather, loyal to that story. Unfortunately, I've never read that story, so I couldn't even tell you what it is from there. The only other thing, guys, I can really tell you about this film is last year when I announced my first It Came From DC Comics month, I was surprised at the number of requests I got for this one. I mean, yes, granted, it did not pull down the same number of requests as, say, the Flashpoint Paradox or Under the Red Hood, but I kind of sort of knew that those two were going to get a ton of requests. I barely remembered that Warner Brothers put out this one, and yet it got a ton of requests, and now I'm going to finally give this thing a watch. I have no idea if this movie is any good at all, and the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Superman vs. the Elite. Well, guys, I can totally say I am really digging how the opening's like a punk rock sort of an opening, and all the footage is made up of stuff from, I am seeing stuff from the Filmation Superman show and the Fleischer shorts. It really is I believe that shot might be from Super Friends, not totally sure. It really is, guys, like a nice mix of old fucking Superman media, and the song is also kind of cool. I'm really digging the opening. So let me see if I've got this straight. So in order to keep him occupied in prison, Metropolis has hooked up Atomic Skull to their fucking generators. So he's helping power the city. You know, out of all the uses for prisoners, that's probably the coolest one I've ever heard. That is really fucking cool. You know, guys, I really am liking this whole, like, play of peace versus force we have with Superman in Black. This actually is a fantastic story. Goddamn, I really am going to have to read the comic that this thing is based on. I really fucking am. So, the grand scheme to stop this war from happening was for the Elite to kill the leaders of the two warring nations. That cannot possibly go well in any way. They have just created power vacuums in both nations, which is going to lead to even more lunatics taking over the countries. Both of these countries are royally fucked, and we have the Elite to thank. You know what, guys? If this movie was totally trying to show exactly how wrong these fuckers are, my God, they picked the best possible way to fucking do it. That was awesome. You know, guys, I think this is the first time I've ever truly been terrified of exactly what Superman can do when you push the man to his fucking limits. Yeah, when he honestly is not the Boy Scout, my God, is he ever fucking terrifying. Well, guys, that was Superman vs. the Elite. Let me shut that off, and, holy shit. My God, just, where the hell to start? Alright, writing. If I had to sum up the plot to this story, I want you to imagine that Chess and his team of new heroes I want you to imagine that the fucking elite are essentially a condensed form of every mid to late 90s dark, edgy comic book character ever. Every single ultra dark, ultra edgy, shoot first and ask questions later cliche condensed down to this team of 4 heroes. And they want to take out Superman because they feel that Superman's modes and his methods are excessively outdated. Because Superman will not kill. Superman will not pass judgment on anyone who he captures. He personally believes that that is up to the justice system to fully dole out. So really, guys, it is the classic superhero morals of just saving people and not truly doling out justice against a trigger-happy, shoot-first-and-ask-questions-later mindset. And the film tries to balance this. And it shows how both sides can have moments where they're right and moments where they are hideously wrong. And the whole thing, it just keeps building. And we see more and more and more of this until finally we have the big showdown at the very end. I'm going to tell you guys, the huge showdown is going to put chills in you. Because without going into spoilers, Superman has to become what he hates the most. He has to become a psycho. And to see Superman absolutely unhinged and just do all of this is chilling. At least it's chilling if you know anything about the character of Superman these many, many decades. It's a very well written film, and once we get past that final battle and we get to the slight twist at the end, I'm not gonna spoil that. I'm just gonna leave that for you guys to watch. We have an amazing story, and it's telling this perfect argument as to which kind of superhero is truly the best, and ultimately it does show that they are both flawed in their own ways. Not only do we have Superman, not only do we have Chess and his new team of heroes, we also get, guys, to see a DC villain that has not gotten enough love, and that is Atomic Skull. And if you wanted to pick a deadly fucking villain who perfectly shows how Superman's methods are flawed as shit, you couldn't have picked one better than Atomic Skull. And it worked perfectly in here. Guys, our story here is amazingly told. And you know, I have griped on the runtime of these films in the past because it kind of feels as if they're rushing things. This movie doesn't have that. This movie is so perfectly paced. Our characters are so perfectly, fleshed out. Well, I can't really say that because out of our new team of heroes, the only one who really gets any true level of depth is their leader, Manchester Black. He's the only one. And even then, what he tells us is his fucking origin apparently is kind of sort of a crock of shit, partially. It's, again, I'm not going to go into spoilers on that. But still, what is here is great, and you are going to be captivated from start to finish throughout this entire story. So, our writing here is really good. Our acting is also amazing. Guys, we have coming back to play as Superman, we have George fucking Newbern as Superman. And if there was any voice I honestly think just perfectly sums up Superman, it's George fucking Newbern's voice. It's so perfect. And he plays Superman so well, but then again, he's also done it so often. And you cast him in this, and it works. And we then have the rest of the cast who have to try to follow, who have to follow Newbern's Superman. And, you know, that honestly would be a little bit of a challenge. And you would almost fear that there would be somebody who just, you know, fumbles slightly or stumbles a bit. But no, our entire cast, flawless. If there, guys, is any one thing I absolutely love about almost every one of these DC films, it is that, my God, the acting is almost always pitch perfect. Amazing acting from start to finish from the entire cast. And this is no exception. Everyone turns in an amazing performance, and it sort of helps add even more life to a script that was already fucking amazing. Now, if there was any one comment I would have to make, it does come in with animation. You see, I've been used to watching so many of these where we have animation that is highly detailed and shaded, and there's tons and tons of color. We do have a whole lot of color, but shading is sometimes a little bit, you know, iffy, and in certain cases shading is borderline not even fucking there, and it looks kind of sort of off. Now, for some reason, they were able to totally shade crowd shots. There are shots of crowds looking at giant monitors as they watch Superman and the fucking elite battle, and that is shaded beautifully. And we will then get into primary scenes where it's Superman and it's fucking cold cast and it is chess, and it's barely shaded. There's almost no shading there. If there was anything that they seemed to rush on here, it had to be the animation, specifically in things such as shading and art style. The art style here is a little bit different from what we've seen in other DC outings, which is totally cool. I really do like that we have a new art style. Unfortunately, because this is a new art style, apparently the animators didn't know how to animate the mouths to work with this art style. So we have mouth movements that barely match what is being said. And if there's one thing, guys, which is going to yank you out of a fucking film really fast, it is a freaking animated piece where the mouth movements are barely matching what is being said. Now, mind you, that is totally fine if you are watching a foreign piece and it's been dubbed, because then you kind of expect that. But this was an American film produced by an American company, produced in English. There is no excuse for the mouth movements to be that flimsy. I want you guys to understand for just a minute, all right, exactly how deep I have to dig when I'm talking about shading and fucking mouth flaps to try to find negatives. But goddamn it, those two in this film stood out. And my God, at times they look awful. And if there's anything, guys, I can say as a negative, it's that. Is that the shading occasionally sucks, and our mouth movements are fucking borderline terrible. That's really, guys, about as close as I'm going to come to finding a negative here. Everything else, though, guys, in terms of animation, is amazing. All right, animation here is ridiculously fluid. I really loved how everything looked and everything moved. It looked great. Again, it just boils down to mouth movements and shading, and those are the two spots where this film sort of stumbles a bit. Now, mind you, everything else, guys, that I could possibly talk about, the sound mix, the score, the music, everything is great. So the very fact that the only negatives I have are occasional shading issues and poorly done mouth fucking movements, that guy should tell you a lot as to how good this movie is. When all is said and done, I'm able to recommend Superman versus the Elite. You bet your ass I can. I would say that this is probably the greatest animated Superman film I've ever seen. Unfortunately, because I saw All-Star Superman earlier this month, I can't say that. But Jesus fuck is this sucker ever a close second. This movie is fantastic. And I want you guys to understand again, this is coming from someone who's not a big fan of Superman. Because I've always seen him as this prissy fucking Boy Scout who just doesn't fucking kill. And my God, when he actually is challenged on that, and that is made the primary, you know, like source of conflict in the film, holy shit, does it ever work, and it works great. Yes, I can definitely recommend this thing, and if you can find it anywhere, pick it up. You really do have to see this if you are a comic book fan of any kind. This movie is fantastic. Now, Superman vs. the Elite came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Brian, and you can find his Tumblr page. Yes, guys, he wants me to promote his Tumblr page at, I actually have it written down, hang on a sec. You can find it at whiterosebrian.tumblr.com. Please, guys, swing on over there. I should mention I have no idea what he has over there. I honestly don't. I have no earthly clue what he has on that Tumblr page. I don't frequent Tumblr. I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Sorry, Brian, I haven't checked out your page. But please, guys, swing over there and check out whatever he has. I'm probably going to have to look at it after I'm done filming this. Once more, that is whiterosebrian.tumblr.com. And again, dude, I thank you. I was really curious about this, and because you sent it in, I finally had a chance to watch it, and that's fucking amazing. You rock. Now, normally, when I get done with one of these DC movies, I like to talk about how I'm going to watch the bonus episodes that they throw on these discs. Problem is that one of the bonus episodes here was also a bonus episode that was on the last movie I covered, which was Justice League Gods and Monsters. I mentioned that it was my favorite episode of Superman of all time, but I didn't have to watch it because it was already on another DC Blu-ray. So I just want to make this point clear, and this right here is kind of a negative about the disc. As much as I love the Superman episode Brave New Metropolis, I don't need it 3 times, Warner Brothers. I really don't. I love it, but I only needed it once. I'm hoping that you aren't dumping that thing on other upcoming Blu-rays, because I kind of like a lot more of the Superman animated series on Blu-ray, or well, actually all the fucking Justice League is out on Blu-ray now, but still, I wouldn't mind a bit more variety, perhaps. But still, and the other episode on here is just not that, good, so I'm probably going to pass on that one. But I believe I am just going to go back and rewatch a couple of the other DC animated films. In fact, it has been a while since I watched the Flashpoint Paradox. I think I may go and watch that. And with that, my friends, we come to the close of this installment of Reaction and Review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.